Hey, what's going on, you lovely lads? I'm your host, Wonderstruck, and surprise, surprise, we're going to be reading r/EntitledParents because that's never been done by a YouTuber before. We've got a couple of lovely stories with us today and a few steaks cooking in the background, so yeah, it's the thrill of the century. Before we begin, do make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you do enjoy the video, but if you'd rather not, that's cool too. Anyways, I'll shut the fuck up and we'll get on with the stories. Em wants me to give her daughter hentai. Okay, so my mom has a friend, Em, that has two children. One of them is 6, entitled Kid 6, and the other is 9, EK9. They have a dog that always plays with my dog. They're like best friends. It was like Sunday afternoon when they came by, so my mom and Em could talk a little and the dogs could play. She brought her kids again and told them they could play with me. I was inside my room and was playing GTA 5. They came in and I quickly turned off the game because GTA 5 is really not for kids. They asked if I could put on some funny videos again because I always do that so I don't have to deal with them. The kids are very, very annoying. I just put on some fail army videos on my PS4 and then sat on my desk to read some manga I bought the day before. It was some yaoi boys love and it's basically gay because it involves sex. They got interested in my book pretty fast and asked me if they could look. I told them no because it's gay hentai, nothing for kids. They both ran out and came back with M, entitled Kid 6.
Look, she has a comic and doesn't want to give it to us.
She said it's nothing for kids!
Can you just let them look? I mean, it's a comic, it's for kids. No, it's not. Look, I showed her to the side I was looking at right now and it was just the characters and I thought she would get this is not for her kids. She fucking ripped my manga out of my hand and showed it to her daughters. I'm fucking done with this and just let it happen.
Are those two boys having sex?
Yes, it's unnatural and I hope you never have sex with another girl. That's unnatural too. I want to flip out, but I don't until she says this. I'm gonna take this with me. You shouldn't look at something like this. It makes you gay. I'm gonna tell your mom. I am gay, you dumb bitch. It's nothing bad and you should teach your kids that they can love who they want no matter what gender. Your mom should listen to this. I don't think she would appreciate what you are saying in front of my children. Turns out, my mom was listening the whole time. She told him that she can shut the fuck up with her homophobic shit, that she knows I'm gay, and that it is completely normal to look at porn when you are 16. Then threw her and the kids out and we never saw them again. Many people told me it was creepy to read porn in front of children. I was reading the story, but it includes like 2 sites of them fucking. I didn't even know it would come up. It doesn't really mean much to me and they were looking at the TV. Oh, I'm gonna have so much censorship to do with this post. You cannot game on this computer. Reading some of the stories on this subreddit reminded me of something that happened a year ago. My mom had company over. She runs a small business, and they'd always bring the brat that I'd have to entertain. Now, I was in high school at the time. I had a pretty good gaming computer in my room. I was pretty tech savvy, now studying CS. So I dual boosted Ubuntu on Windows. The brat caught his eye on the PC because I was foolish enough to allow him into my room. Of course he said he wanted to play on it. I declined to let him because I was running a compute benchmark on it, Prime 95. He insisted on playing and made a fuss. His parents came in and told me to allow him to play. My parents, wanting to appease them, told me to allow him. Okay, but I'm not going to restart the computer and boot it into Windows for him to play games. I watched him try, and fail, to install Roblox on the computer. Robot isn't out for Linux. He complained to his mother, who was convinced that I did some trickery to not allow her precious angel to play. I told her the truth that Roblox is not supported on Linux. She did not understand this and told me,
Then make it work.
by now the child had thrown a temper tantrum over not being able to play Roblox. After which the father poked his head in and promptly removed both the upset idiot who was throwing a fit and the child. My mom still managed not to lose the business though. Probably because of the husband. My nan, who mistaken for my mom, is accused of tattooing me as a baby because of my birthmark. This is gonna be a rather long one, so be prepared. My mom and my nan told me this a while ago and I just remembered it after posting another tale about my youth involving said birthmark. It's shaped like a love heart, and it was so clear that it looked like a stamp until I was 11, where it has faded. The link is a photo if anyone is interested. I was barely 5 months old and was sitting on my mother's lap while waiting for my turn in the hospital. I have a thyroid condition requiring a blood test per year. My nan said that I was getting irritated by being stuck on my 17-year-old mother's lap. Yeah, my mom was young, but she's done a pretty good job raising me. My mom sat me down with some other babies. I was playing with some wooden blocks and I was sitting on my own. I have autism, hence the avoidance of other human beings. Mom says there was a girl that was a bit too old to be with the babies and was drinking milk. She dropped the milk right on me, ruining the bumblebee shirt I was wearing. My mom took me and had to take my shirt off because it was soaked. It exposed my birthmark, which was darker than it is now. And I've always had pale skin, so it sticks out like a tail would. I'm being fussy as my mom cleans me, and there is a woman glaring and daggers at my mom and my nan. Her husband is busy with their son who is crying because I'm crying. I'll call the lady Ella.
Excuse me.
Nan says she sounded like a dolphin. I'm sorry, Opie will calm down soon. My mom is very anxious as she's still a very new mom and hasn't met my second mom yet. They aren't in a relationship anymore. They've been almost sisters since I was 4, but she's still a mom to me.
Why have you tattooed her back? That's disgusting. No wonder she's crying so much. Tattoo?
My nan looks at my back and sees the love heart.
No, that's her birthmark. It looks weird, I know, but it's not a tattoo. Of course it's a tattoo. No baby has a birthmark like that.
Other parents are looking at her, including her husband.
You're a horrible mother to do that to your baby.
No, she's my granddaughter. My mom is close to crying from the embarrassment. I've stopped crying, and I'm looking at the woman as she makes a gasp that sounds like she's choking to death. Nan's words, not mine.
If you say a word about my daughter, I will take a chair leg and shove it so far up your rear that you'll be mistaken for a unicorn.
The woman acted like she had been slapped. When a nurse came in, she was pulled by Ella and Nan overheard her saying that my Nan was abusing me and my mom. The nurse looked at us and saw that we had clearly been crying while my Nan was visibly furious. Thankfully, her husband had some semblance of sanity in him. Ella's husband, my wife thinks that the young lady has tattooed her granddaughter's back.
There's no way that is a birthmark.
Can you prove that it isn't a tattoo? She's looking at my back strangely.
I wouldn't tattoo my baby.
My mom finally speaks up.
I chose to keep her. I wouldn't do anything that'd take her away. I'd like to speak to someone over these false accusations.
Interestingly, my Nan is called Karen. Even non-entitled ones say that line. The nurse looked conflicted. She was facing an increasingly upset grandmother and a snobbish mother who was possibly genuinely concerned for my well-being. She called my doctor to stop what he was doing, to come in the waiting room. That sounds like something she shouldn't have done, but my Nan guesses that the nurses wanted witnesses or something like that.
There's an infant here with a strange mark on her. One of the parents believes it's a tattoo, is it?
Hey, OP. He smiled as he handed his pin to me, which I started waving around as if it was a flag. I like pins. My mom says that he checked my back and rolled his eyes. This is her birthmark. There are so many possible shapes that there can be, that it is possible for a birthmark to look like a heart. I'm sorry you two have had to go through this.
That can't possibly be true.
Your heart is in the right place, but you went about it in the wrong way. OP doesn't have a tattoo and these two aren't abusing OP. She's just here for a blood test. Mom is doing a fine job for her age. He is our favorite doctor. Did the woman get kicked out or shunned? No, she just looked embarrassed and said nothing more. Nan and Mom made me have my blood test and bought me a teddy bear for being a brave girl. It wasn't anything overly insane, just something amusing thanks to my birthmark. Entitled Mom tries to cut in line at the American Embassy because she is American. Hello fellow Redditors, I am French American and live near Paris. A few months ago I had to renew my American passport because the old one had expired. It was the first time I had to renew it since I turned 18. I'm 20 when this story happened, so I decided that I would go to the American Embassy, or consulate, I'm not sure which one it is exactly, without my mother for the first time. She's American. To get things done on my own, like a big boy. Usually hanging out with my mother in any public place means people immediately learn that we're Americans, seeing as we usually speak English when there isn't too many people and speak French in big crowds, out of respect for the people around us, but her thick accent usually rats us out as Americans. Anyways, she didn't come with me that day. It meant that people wouldn't automatically assume I was American. Important for the rest of the story. So the day of the meeting I show up at the embassy, 15 minutes before the time of the meeting as instructed, and the line to get in is a mess. There are 2 TSA checks, one outdoors and one indoors. In between the two, the line of people is orderly, but before the first TSA check, everyone was just bunched up and participating in the Hunger Games in order to get in before everyone else. When I got there, I phoned my mother, anxious that I would be late for my meeting. She told me to just go to the TSA agents and tell them I had a meeting blah blah blah. When I hung up, the French people around me told me that the Americans had been called forth earlier, so I got to skip the first line by just waving my passport in the air. Turns out having an American passport at the American Embassy makes you a VIP. So I'm waiting in line for the second TSA check, and I'm waiting for the TSA agent to call me into the building. As I'm waiting, I hear commotion behind me. Some lady, entitled Mom, is pushing everyone aside yelling,
I'm American, I have priority, let me through.
She had a 5-ish-year-old boy with her. As she gets to my level, she tries to push me aside, yelling,
I have to get my boy his passport.
Now that woman was 5 feet tall with her arms up, and I'm 6 feet tall, and though I'm not very heavy, 145 pounds, I don't budge easily. She looks at me in shock as if I had killed her son or somewhat, and shouts,
How dare you, I'm American, I have every right over you here. Now let me pass.
I had all my papers out in my left hand and my current passport at the time was underneath it, so she couldn't have known I was American. The TSA agent gestures to me to come forth and M starts cutting in front of me to tell her boy,
Come on, we can finally go in.
And yanks his arm. I gently but firmly grab her by the shoulder, stop her in her tracks, and move forward. She looks me dead in the eye and says,
What is wrong with you? I should go first. I told you I'm American.
As she says so, I pull my passport from underneath my papers, wave it to her face, and say,
Well, so am I, bitch.
That's when one of the TSA agents from the first control post come to take her back to the start of the line. As I entered the building, I shouted back, Enjoy the line with the French people, and then proceeded with the protocol. Long story short, don't mess with people based on their assumed nationality. You might get a surprise. What is going on, everybody? If you made it to the end of the video, I'd like to congratulate you for bearing through. Anyways, thank you for watching today's video, it really does mean the world. Sorry for censoring on the first post, it's just a thing I have to do on YouTube. I have to cut out most of the bad words, I wish it wasn't like that, but sadly it is. If you enjoyed the video, I do encourage you to drop a like or maybe even subscribe. I won't waste your time any longer with my ramblings, so here's a compilation I made of my mom's dog. Take care and bye.
That's all I know.